Evaluating formulas. The following formulas can be used to determine shoe size N for a man or woman whose foot is approximately X inches long. There are two formulas given, and our first question says, if Emily's foot is about 8 inches long, what is her shoe size? When solving formula problems and trying to evaluate them, there's often a lot of information that needs to be sorted through. So it's best to stay organized in your approach. So to stay organized when solving these formula problems, use these steps. First, determine the formula you're using to answer the question. Second, define your variables, knowing what they stand for. Third, read the problem and plug in the provided information, leaving you with one unknown variable, and then finally solve for that variable and label your solution. Let's try to implement these steps. First, let's define the variables that define which formula we're using. Since we're talking about Emily, we're going to use the formula for women. N equals 3x minus 22. The variables that we need to understand and define are N and X. N, for this problem, is dealing with shoe size, and X is dealing with the length of a person's foot. So I'll write these down to define them. And the units are provided for foot length. I'm going to put those in parentheses. They're inches. Now in the problem that we're dealing with, Emily's foot is about 8 inches long. That 8 is standing for the foot length, which is the X variable. So step 3 is what I'm doing now. I'm plugging in the information that's provided. N now equals 3 times 8 minus 22. My one unknown variable is now N, which is what I want to solve for. So I will simplify this equation. N equals 2. Now the final thing I want to make sure I do is clearly state what my solution is and label it. It asks, what is her shoe size? And we say her shoe size is 2. We can repeat these steps now using Kyle's example. If Kyle's shoe size is 10, about how long is his foot? Now the formula we'll use is the formula for men, N equals 3x minus 25. But when defining my variables, nothing's changed. N still stands for shoe size, and X still stands for foot length. The question asks, if Kyle's shoe size is 10, how long is his foot? Here we're given information about shoe size, which is for the variable N. So when I plug in 10, I need to make sure I substitute it in for my variable N. 10 now equals 3x minus 25. Here my unknown variable is X, which is foot length. That's what I'm trying to determine. So I need to follow my steps for solving and isolating a variable. I'll use my addition principle first. And now divide each side by 3 to get X equals 35 divided by 3, which is 11 2/3. Now we can answer the question. How long is Kyle's foot? His foot is about 11 2/3 inches. Let's try and do this one more time. In the US, general contractors use the formula B equals 30A to determine the minimum furnace output, B, in British thermal units for a well-insulated house with A square feet of flooring. Determine the minimum furnace output for a 1,500 square foot house that is well insulated. Let's begin by writing down the formula that we're going to use, which is B equals 30A. The two variables in this problem, in this formula, are B and A. We can see that B stands for the minimum furnace output. And the units are BTUs. A stands for the square feet of flooring. Now let's see if we can plug in the information. The last sentence says, determine the minimum furnace output for a 1,500 square foot house. Here we're given 1,500 square feet that we're to plug in, and since we're talking about square feet, that goes in for my letter A. Our final step is to solve this now. And that just requires multiplication. 30 times 1,500 is 45,000. So what is the minimum furnace output that is needed? The minimum furnace output is 45,000 BTUs.